No one had any kryptonite for Jonathan Davenport. He started on the pole, led every single lap in dominating fashion, and claimed the victory at the Dream at Eldora. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. I have to say, this was quite a ho-hum race. There was some pretty interesting racing about halfway through, and maybe about, I guess, a quarter of the way through as well, maybe around lap 80 or so. But Davenport shot off like a rocket. He was kind of hounded by Chris Smoky Madden there for a little bit. However, it would be short-lived. About 13 laps in, we would see a caution for a flat tire. Shane Clayton had to come in, get that fixed up, and that is exactly what he did. When they went to the restart, Davenport continued to lead. We saw some moves in the top five. Brandon Overton kind of shot into second, worked his way up there. And then around lap 80, we got some really fun racing here with Bobby Pierce, Ashton Wagner, Ashton Winger and Stormy Scott. Let's take a look at some of this here. Also, you can see Brian Shirley is up there as well. I think they're racing here for around like the 6th, 7th, and 8th positions. Might be a little bit further back, but this was some fun racing here between these three. These guys were really going at it here. A lot of fun stuff here. You see Pierce moving up there in front of Stormy Scott, going up high. Stormy down low, and then Pierce maybe looking to split the middle. Doesn't have it there yet, but then he then is able to dive under Winger, move up there. You can see bouncing up off the track there, and then Winger tries with the crossover. So really some fun racing right there around like lap 80, about three quarter, or I guess a quarter into the race. And then if we skip over here, we did have some really fun racing here between Ricky Thornton Jr. and Bobby Pierce. I think this is probably like the best racing of the entire night. They were really going at it here. Let's take a look at what happened right here. You can see Pierce was at the top. He was really defending here against Ricky. Ricky was actually kind of coming on strong. Looked like he might have had the better car at this point in the race. Pierce kind of playing a little bit of defense. Ricky really getting a good run there up the top on the top side. Looks to the inside here. Pierce stays on the outside, pulls the slide job a little bit there. Leaves Bobby some room to stay up top. He gets the position there at the line, and then Bobby is going to come back here. And then Ricky kind of takes the top away, and then Bobby will go, I think, back to the inside here a little bit. Looks like Ricky might have hit the wall there, kind of slows him in, and Pierce is able to really dive it in and pull the slider. So they did that for a couple laps. It was really fun. It was really entertaining. That was, I think, the best part of the race, was seeing Pierce and Ricky Thornton there kind of going back and forth for about 4 or 5 laps. And then I don't know what happened, but Ricky Thornton Jr.'s car kind of fell off, and he was never really in the hunt for the win. I know he's spoken in the past about Eldora really isn't his favorite track. He hasn't really found the success that people like Jonathan Davenport have indeed found at the track. If we jump ahead here, was really kind of stayed green for the most part. Wasn't a lot of action. We had a couple passes here and there. You'd see some comers and goers. Obviously, Ricky Thornton fell to the back. We saw Dale McDowell was moving really forward. I think he ended up finishing in 6th, starting in 19th. But we didn't really see anything in the broadcast of how he was working through the field or anything like that, because they were mainly focusing on kind of what Pierce was doing, because he seemed to be involved in a lot of the action, a lot of the good racing. And then they would kind of double box it here. But you had this pass here for second with, I guess, 2 laps to go here. It might be a last lap pass, because I think Pierce is coming up right to the flag stand here. Let's take a look at this here. This is for second place. Davenport had already checked out. Yeah, it's a last lap, or I guess still 2 laps to go, because Davenport hasn't come around. That's how far he's already going into 3 and 4, and Pierce and Overton are coming out of 1 and 2. He had over a straightaway lead on them, but that was, you saw the pass there that Pierce did on Overton, got that second place finish, and that's how they would end up. Obviously, Davenport here brings it home, takes the checkered flag, wins in dominating fashion. No one had anything for him whatsoever. There was another caution on lap 46. We had Nick Hoffman. He had some kind of fluid leak There was speculation by the announcers, including Randy Weaver, that it was some kind of rear end issue. I don't think we actually got confirmation from that, but that was kind of what they were speculating on. But rather a ho-hum event. It's kind of almost predictable, right? You let Jonathan Davenport start in the front. He's going to save his stuff. He's going to be absolutely dominant at these big crown jewel events. He's just so good at them. It's hard to beat him when he is indeed starting at the front. I almost feel like the rest of the field needs a handicap. You got to put Davenport at least maybe in the fourth row or something like that. Maybe he has to at least work his way through the field a little bit, because that's how good he is when it comes to these crown jewel events. Even if he might have a little bit of a struggle in the earlier nights, which I think he did this week. He didn't dominate every single race that he was in. Had a little bit of struggles earlier in the week. Obviously still had respectable finishes, but when it comes to the big money, when it comes to Saturday night, he's able to turn it on. He's able to just put it where it needs to be, get to the front, puts it on the pole, is able to get there, works his way through whatever the formatting is. It doesn't really matter how it is, even as much as he complains about it. He still ends up putting it there at the front for the beginning of the race, and then he just dominates. And that's why he is Superman. And it doesn't look like there's any kryptonite out there that anyone has anything for him. Bobby Pierce said he didn't have anything for him. Brandon Overton said he didn't have anything for him. None of these guys had anything for him. He was just day and night better than everyone else. And that takes a lot of hard work to be that good. I mean, we have guys like Ricky Thornton Jr., like Bobby Pierce. They seem to be the dominant players in the World of Outlaws in the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series when you're driving around to all of these different tracks. But when it comes to the Crown Jewel events, Jonathan Davenport is by far and away, I think, the dominant force out there. He is the favorite every single Crown Jewel event, and he's proving it wise. He's 2 for 2, won the Show Me 100, and has now won the Dream. Let's look at the results here. Obviously, Davenport came home with the win. Bobby Pierce moved up 7 spots, finished in second. Brandon Overton jumped up 3, finishing in third. Hudson O'Neal. I think Hudson O'Neal, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with here. It looks like he's really doing some teaming up with the Longhorn team there, and look for him to continue to improve, because since he's been working in that Longhorn team, he's been much better. He's getting better. I think that this is a long-term investment for him, and I only see him moving forward, because we already know he can drive the car. We know how well he did in Rocket 1. Obviously won the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series last year. Obviously, I know that there's the whole he won one race and that's how he won. I get it, but that's how it is. That's how it played out. He did indeed win, and it definitely looks like he is improving, especially when he is in Rumley's car. So obviously winning at Atomic last week, and then now coming home with a 4th place finish at the Dream, and even performing better than Shepard, who is indeed in the Longhorn house car, not the Long House. I'm combining them already there, right? Who finished in 7th, still respectable, and he was running really fast lap times towards the end. Just had kind of put himself in a deficit. But moving forward, we got Chris Madden finished in 5th. Dale McDowell finished in 6th, jumped 13 spots after starting in 19th. The Mac Daddy always does strong, I feel like, at these Crown Jewel events as well, but he's always having to work his way through the field. And maybe that's the kryptonite. That's how you get to Jonathan Davenport, is you got to beat him in the heats. You got to somehow make it so he doesn't qualify very well, and he's not getting good positions in the heats, and that's where you get him. So maybe he starts a little bit further back. So you got to make him work for it. But McDowell always there, a threat to win, finishing in the 6th position. Great effort from him. As I said, Brandon Shepard in 7th. We had Ricky Thornton Jr. faded to 8th after being up there competing with Bobby Pierce in the top 5. Stormy Scott finished in 9th. Love to see Stormy do well. Max Blair jumped 11 spots, finished in 10th. How about Devin Gilpin? He jumped up 11 spots, finished in 11th after starting in 22nd. Kind of followed Max Blair, it looks like, through the field. Blair starting in 21st. That is all of the cars that were on the lead lap, you only had 11 cars on the lead lap. Everyone else was a lap down, was at least one lap down or retired early. Devin Moran, who won on Friday night, finished a lap down in 12th. Brian Shirley in 13th. Tim McCready in 14th. Tyler Erb in 15th. Trent Ivey finished in 16th. Dennis Erb Jr. in 17th. Ricky Weiss 18th. Cody Overton 19th. Ashton Winger in 20th. Kyle Bronson 21st. Dalton Wilson 22nd. Nick Hoffman obviously had that issue, finishing in 23rd. Josh Rice exited early in 24th. Shane Clayton obviously had the issue as well too, and then exited early. He finished in 25th. And then Shannon Babb rounded out your field in 26th. As for my final thoughts, I thought the race was okay. I definitely, I guess, had higher expectations for it. Thought it would have been a little bit better. Thought it'd be a little bit more competitive. Thought we would have seen maybe some tougher battles in the lead for the lead. But obviously, I also thought, like, you're letting JD start on the pole. He's really hard to pass once he gets out there. He usually dominates races when he's starting from the front, and it's just kind of hard to just compete with him because he's so good at restarts, and then he's just really able to kind of keep guys behind him once he gets to the front. But there was some good battles there, as I said, as we kind of covered in the middle of the field in the kind of the top five. I guess that's not really the middle of the field. That's towards the front of the field. But obviously, like the battle there between Bobby Pierce and Ricky Thornton Jr. Thought that was really fun to watch. And then obviously the slick slider that he pulled off on Brandon Overton there in the waning laps, that was really good as well. I would have liked to have seen some more of what Dale McDowell had done throughout the field. Obviously, he probably was in some good racing. If we know what Dale McDowell likes to do, he likes to hug that bottom lane, so he's probably hugging that bottom lane. So maybe might have seen him moving around the track to find something, but would have liked to have seen it, right? I mean, he was the top mover there, moving up 13 spots. Would have liked to seen a little bit more of that. I think we maybe got less than 30 seconds of him, and then they I feel like they talked more about him than they showed him. So I would have liked to seen a little bit more of kind of him moving through the field. And then even Max Blair and Devin Gilpin obviously jumping up 11 spots, both of them. That would have been fun to watch too, especially since Davenport was just so dominant. But we did get some good racing there. I guess maybe halfway through the race and about a quarter of the way. Otherwise, once they had that caution on lap 46, things really got spread out after that. And you kind of just had drivers picking them off one by one. And it was really more that the seeming like equipment kind of was fading out. So you had people dropping back. So it wasn't as like going back and forth like we saw between Ricky Thornton and Bobby Pierce. But overall, solid race. It could have been better. It's definitely, I don't even think in the top 5 of the best races this year. But let me know what you guys made of this race. Let me know in the comments below. And finally, just want to congratulate Jonathan Davenport on the win again. Just absolutely dominant performance. And he's definitely set the bar on where everyone else needs to be for these crown jewel events. He is definitely the guy to beat.